All right, so you know how we always kind of tiptoe around failure?
Yeah.
Like it's this big, scary thing, right?
Right.
Well, for this deep dive, we're going to do a total 180.
Oh,
We're actually going to look at failure as a good thing.
interesting.
Yeah, this podcast episode we're diving into, it's all about embracing failure.
Embracing failure.
Yeah, like not just dealing with it, but actually using it to your advantage.
I like that.
So, to kick things off, the episode starts with this question. Why do we even fear failure in the first place?
Right, like what makes it so uncomfortable?
Yeah. Like, is it just like natural instinct?
Or is it something we learn?
Maybe it's like ingrained in us from like childhood or something.
Yeah.
What do you think?
You know, I think the episode actually suggests it's a bit of both.
Uh-huh.
Like on one hand, we are kind of wired to avoid danger and risk, which, failure can be seen as.
Right.
But then on the other hand, yeah, you're totally right. Like, think about how we're raised. We're taught to strive for perfection, to avoid mistakes.
Oh, yeah. Totally like getting good grades, winning at everything.
Exactly. And failure is kind of seen as the opposite of all that.
Right. Like the big F on your report card.
Exactly. So we learn to fear it, to avoid it at all costs.
Which I guess in some ways makes sense, right?
Sure. But the episode makes this really compelling point.
Yeah.
It says everyone fails.
Well, yeah, of course.
It's like, it's inevitable. It's part of life.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually bring up a super interesting example.
Oh, yeah. Who?
Thomas Edison.
Oh, yeah, the light bulb guy.
Exactly. You know that famous quote about the 10,000 ways that didn't work?
Right, right.
Well, the episode dives into that.
I mean, 10,000 times, that's a lot of failing.
It is. But the key takeaway is that Edison didn't see it as failure.
Yeah.
He saw it as 10,000 lessons learned.
So it's about like how you frame it.
Exactly. Reframe.
Like instead of like, oh, I messed up. It's like,
right.
Okay, what did I learn from this?
Totally. So each attempt, each failure was actually bringing him closer to the solution.
To that light bulb moment.
Literally, yeah.
Nice.
But it wasn't just Edison. The episode also talks about J.K. Rowling.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Harry Potter.
Exactly. Now, she faced a ton of rejection before getting Harry Potter published.
I bet. I mean, that's a pretty unique story.
Right. Like multiple publishers turned her down.
I can't even imagine.
But she kept going.
She had that persistence.
Total resilience. She didn't let those rejections define her or her work.
That's incredible. It makes you wonder, like, how many amazing ideas just never make it because people give up too soon.
Oh, for sure. I mean, think about how many times we might have given up on something after just a few setbacks.
Yeah, I know I have.
So, the episode does a great job of establishing that failure is not only inevitable, but it can actually be really valuable.
Right.
But then the question becomes like, okay, how do we actually embrace it?
Like, put it into practice.
Exactly. How do we go from fearing failure to using it as fuel?
Yeah, good question.
Well, the episode lays out some really practical steps.
Ooh, I like practical steps. Lay it on me.
Okay, so first they talk about shifting our mindset.
Makes sense.
So instead of seeing failure as like a full stop at the end of the sentence.
It's like, what, a comma?
Exactly. It's a pause before the next sentence, before the next attempt.
Okay, so failure isn't the end. It's just part of the process.
Exactly.
Okay, so mindset shift, check. What else?
They also encourage us to take risks.
Risks. See, now that's where I get a little hesitant.
But here's the thing. They're talking about calculated risks.
Okay, so not just like jumping off a cliff without a parachute.
No, it's about, stepping outside of your comfort zone, pushing your boundaries a little bit, to see what you're capable of.
Because if you're too afraid to fail, you'll never try anything new.
Exactly. You'll never know what you can achieve.
Okay, but how do you know when a risk is, worth taking?
Well, that's where you have to do your homework. You weigh the potential benefits against the potential downsides.
Right, you got to do that cost-benefit analysis.
Exactly. But even then, even with the best planning, you might still fail.
Right.
And that brings us to another super important point the episode makes.
Yeah.
Self-compassion.
Ooh, self-compassion. I like that.
Right. It's so crucial. It's about recognizing that it's okay to feel disappointed or frustrated when you fail.
Yes, we're human. We're going to have those feelings.
Exactly. So acknowledge those feelings, don't beat yourself up about it.
Right.
Instead, focus on what you learned from the experience.
Okay, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and try again.
Exactly. And that's how you turn failure into a stepping stone to success.
So it sounds like the big takeaway here, the thing to remember, is that failure is not the opposite of success.
Right.
It's part of the journey.
It's like a stepping stone on the path to success.
I like that.
It is pretty powerful, right?
So to Everyone listening out there, think about how you view failure. Maybe after this deep dive, you can see it a little differently.
Yeah, maybe.
And who knows, maybe that shift in perspective can help you reach new heights.
Wow, that's the hope.
So remember, this was just one perspective on embracing failure.
One episode.
There's so many more out there. So keep exploring, keep learning, and never be afraid to fail.
Great advice.
All right, that's it for this deep dive. Until next time.
Yeah.